Hello and welcome to Cooking the Books with Heather. Today we are working once again from Vishweshbats. I am from here, and we are going to be making an interesting pie. I've never seen anything quite like it, but it is called Austin's Neshoba County Fair Peanut Pie. So it's named after his former pastry chef, Austin Agent, and he came up with this. And it is, if you are from the South, at least in my area, and I think probably most of the South, a thing that a lot of people did at some point, especially working on farms, was to have a soda, Coke or an RC Cola is the one that I've heard of mostly. And they would pour their peanuts in it and then have like a little drink and a snack, sweet and salty all together. So that's what this is a take on. And I'm going to be making a double batch of this. We're going to be making a cola syrup. So I'm making a double batch because I plan to make another pie for later this week for Pie Day. But if it doesn't turn out, I might choose to do something different. But I might as well go ahead and make a double batch of this anyway. So we've got regular soda here, not sugar-free, not a diet or a zero. I think, I've not tried it, but I don't think that that would get as syrupy and be quite right for this. If you try it, please let me know in the comments down below. I would love to know what happens if that works. Flavor-wise, it would be fine, but I don't know that it would work, you know, as far as the texture, the thickness of it. So, pretty sure these small bottles are equal to a can. Yeah, so I just couldn't find, I found the tiny cans, but not the other cans. So we got bottles. So as you can see, I am pouring these into my saucier, and we are going to put this on the stove, and we are going to turn it on. He says low heat. I'm going to go sort of not as low, probably sort of a medium low, and slowly reduce it to a syrup, stirring occasionally. He says it'll take 30 to 40 minutes. I think that is, especially at low heat, a little low. I think it's going to take a lot longer than that, but I'll let you know how long it takes me, and we'll be back when this is all done to finish making this pie. It has been 50 minutes and it has barely done anything. So I have turned the heat up to medium, and we will see what happens. My cola syrup took more than 2 hours, probably. I did take a picture. I don't have access to that right this minute. But we are going on, I think, 3 hours now from when I started it. So about 2.5 hours. It's still warm. I think that's okay. It's not hot, but still warm. It did not even really boil until I went a little bit above medium on my stove. And then it reduced without boiling, but very, 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 very slowly. It went a lot faster once I got it to a little bit above a simmer, like a very, very slow boil. And I think that was okay. And nothing ever, it didn't burn. It was fine. Anyway, so we're ready to make our pie. I've already got the pie crust in a 9-inch pie pan, pie plate. Mine's glass. It's sort of a normal size. Not have a larger one that tends to take up we'll use a lot more filling. I'm hoping this one will be fine, because he did say you can use like a store-bought 9-inch, and he does say 9-inch, and that's what this is. Should be fine. I'm hoping. I will go ahead and link up here that pie crust that I've already made, and so you can go follow that for the crust. It is not part of this recipe, as I believe I've already said. But now we're going to do the filling. We have some peanuts. These are lightly salted roasted peanuts. And we're going to put them in an even layer on the bottom of the pie. This crust is completely raw. It hasn't been docked, hasn't been par baked. There we go. So we have our layer of peanuts that we are supposed to try to keep on the bottom in a layer when we pour the stuff in. We'll see how that goes, but whatever. And now I need some eggs, large eggs, just that's what I usually have on hand, are the large size. There we go. I'm gonna get rid of this and clean my hands a little bit because I got very eggy. Okay, supposed to lightly beat these. So there we go. Give us a little beating. And now we have some sugar, just plain granulated sugar. It's a lot of sugar, especially since we're also adding syrups. This is my favorite tool to use to measure things like corn syrup. There we go. Lucky I had enough. So we're going to add this here. I'm going to use this also to measure my cola syrup, even though, although this is not quite as syrupy, and it is still very warm, so it might, as it cools, get thicker, but yeah, made almost exactly the right amount. Oops, and I have made a huge mess now. Great. Oh well. That's my oven. It is heated to 350 degrees. I wanted to go ahead and get this mixed up a little bit so the eggs didn't cook with the warm syrup, although it wasn't super warm. I think it's fine. We have some melted unsalted butter, which we're going to also put in here. We're going to put in some cayenne. Now there is more than I would have expected in this recipe, but that's okay. Yes, that is my dry side now. So that's just cayenne pepper, some vanilla. There we go. Got a little cola syrup on my counter, but I will clean it up in just a minute. All right, so then we just mix this up. He just says stir well to combine. So there we go. Okay, so we are supposed to, oh, I took away my spoon that I was going to use. He says we're supposed to either spoon or gently pour the filling. So I'm going to try spooning it and we'll see. I might gently pour. We'll see what happens. Let's see. I think these are going to float up no matter what. They're going to float. I think it'll be fine. The peanut layer is supposed to remain intact on the bottom, but I have never had that happen with all the pecan pies that I've ever made. But they all turn out fine because just the nature of the solids is to, as it cooks, to distribute evenly on the top. And that's what the picture has as well. So I'm not too worried about this. This is sort of, whew, just about super full. There we go. So I'm definitely going to be putting this on a tray, but we're going to bake this in our 350-degree oven. Ooh, that does have a little bit of kick from the cayenne. So we're going to bake it in a 350-degree oven for 60 to 70 minutes or until the top is just set. So I assume it will be a lot like a pecan pie, and hopefully I will be able to tell relatively easy that it's done or not. So we will see you in about an hour, and I'll let you know exactly how long it took for me, and we'll tell you what we think about it. Be right back. Okay, so I have cooked it for 70 minutes plus an extra 10, and I'm going to call it done now. So still a little wobbly, but not super wobbly, and it only in that last 10 minutes, or last 5 minutes really, started to sort of weep out the side. Here you can see it overflowed a little bit then, but other than that, not too bad. Now we have to let it cool for at least like 20 or 30 minutes before we can eat it. He says to serve it with a vanilla ice cream, and if you have any extra cola syrup, with that on top as well. So I'm happy the crust looks brown, but not too brown, not burnt. So I think we're just going to call it good. We'll let you know what we think in just a minute. On this episode of Cooking the Books with Heather, you watched me make Austin's Neshoba County Fair peanut pie from Vishwesh Bhatt's I Am From Here cookbook. So I liked this pie, but I think that it was a little bit, I think the cayenne was something you're either going to really like or really not like. It wasn't spicy, but I kind of felt it at the back of my throat. And I think for me, I like a pecan pie that's sort of a thinner recipe rather than a thick one with a lot of the filling underneath a layer of nuts, because that's what happens. You get a layer of nuts on top and then the sort of filling bakes underneath it. I prefer a thinner one, and so I did try. I made another batch, more like a bar cookie, but that kind of failed due to other problems. My crust didn't go up far enough, and so the filling went underneath, and it was just all a thing. But I think that cooked a lot quicker and was easier to tell that it was set up. This one, I think I needed to cook it a little bit longer to get it to set up. It was not quite set up, and it definitely needed way more than 20 to 25 minutes to be ready to cut, to be, cool enough to cut. Even though you're going to serve it with ice cream, as he suggests, it needed a little bit more time than that to rest, to be not soupy when you cut into it, because it really needs to cool down to set. when it was after we put the rest in the refrigerator, and then after that it was a little bit more set, but I still think it could have used a little extra time. I also feel like the cola syrup was not quite syrupy enough, maybe had a little bit too much water still in it, even though I did cook it down to the right amount. I just think it wasn't quite syrupy enough. And towards the end, this pie started getting a little bit of, it seemed like liquid coming out and sort of separating, and I'm not sure if that's why, but it was certainly an interesting pie, and I may make something like this again with peanuts instead of pecans. I would probably try to adapt it to more like the pecan pie recipe that we like, that is thinner and the pecans are sort of cut up more. So I might chop them more than just, having the whole peanuts in there. I think we would prefer it that way. But all in all, it was not a really difficult pie to make. It was just a little bit, I think it's something you're either going to love or you're going to hate. So if you enjoyed watching me make this, please give me a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. Share this with your friends, and let me know if you've tried a pie like this before in the comments down below. And come back and watch me make something else next week.